The plot to murder Khalistani terrorists has thickened after US presented an explosive report on Khalistani terrorist Gurpatwant Singh Pannun. US claimed Indian plot to kill the US-based lawyer. But who is Gurpatwant Singh Pannun? A designated terrorist wanted in India, nearly 24 terror and sedition-related cases, most vocal proponent of Khalistan, threatened to blow up Air India flights. How this American became the figurehead of Khalistani movement. In a now unsealed indictment, US prosecutors charge alleged Indian intel official of plotting to kill the Khalistani terrorist. What the bombshell indictment claims: multiple targets on list, multiple people involved. Let's decode the 15-page long US document. With huge geopolitical implications, it is still unclear when or how US officials became aware of the assassination plot or how the alleged murder was thwarted. But before we understand the curious murder for hire case of Pannun and America's response, we must first learn about the 5 names that the unsealed US indictment mentions. First up, who is CC1? An Indian intelligence officer who resides in India. As per the document, CC1 directed the plot from the United States. He formerly served in the Central Reserve Force or the CRPF. Next up, who is Nikhil Gupta aka Nick Gupta? Nick Gupta now is a 52-year-old Indian national. Gupta was hired by CC1 to orchestrate the plot in the US. As per US charges, Gupta is allegedly involved in international weapons and narcotics trafficking. Who is CS? CS was contacted by Nikhil Gupta for assistance in contracting a hitman for the job in New York City. CS was, however, a confidential source working with the US law enforcement. Who is UC? UC is the purported hitman introduced to Nikhil Gupta by CS. He was actually an undercover US law enforcement officer. Lastly, who is the victim? The indictment does not mention Khalistani terrorist Pannun's name. The victim is described as an attorney and political activist who is residing in New York. The victim is a vocal critique of the Indian government and leads a US-based organization that advocates for the secession of Punjab. The US document says that the Indian government has banned the victim and his separatist organization. Earlier seen as an eccentric legal advisor of Sikhs for Justice, now a banned group in India, Pannun began to be seen as a global Khalistani leader with the referendums held in various Western countries. Now, if reports are to be believed, after a murder of Khalistani leader in Canada and a sting operation through an unexpected channel, an explosive tip on Pannun surfaced. Here, we constructed a detailed timeline based on the 15-page US document. May 2023, CC1 asks Nick Gupta to arrange the murder of victim. Nick Gupta agrees and meets CC1 in New Delhi. May 6, 2023, CC1 messages Gupta. We have targets in New York and California. Gupta replies, we will hit all our targets. May 12, 2023, CC1 to Gupta. Nobody will ever bother you again about Gujarat case. CC1 offers to arrange a meeting between Gupta and DCP then. May 29, 2023, Gupta pressed forward to arrange for the murder. Gupta contacts CS by phone. Gupta wanted to know if CS knew anyone who would be willing to carry out a murder for hire in the United States. Gupta explains that the intended victim was a lawyer. The victim split time between New York City and another US city, it was explained. The CS responds that he would reach out to his contacts. CS asks Gupta for additional information about the victim. Gupta forwards screenshots of these texts to CC1. CC1 responds, "We are ready to pay $1,50,000. CC1 says, "Offer will go higher depending upon the quality of the work." The CS requests for $100,000 for the job. June 1st, 2023, CC1 sends Gupta the street address for the victim's home in New York City. CC1 describes the house as the locality of the victim's house. June 2nd, CC1 asks for an update. CC1 states that it's important and there is less time. Gupta asks for a day's time to get back. June 3rd, Gupta speaks with CS by audio call and urges CS to have his associates carry out the murder soon. Gupta says, "Finish him, brother, finish him. Don't take too much time. Push these guys. Finish the job." Gupta then messages CC1. Gupta tells CC1, "Spoke with the NY group and told them they have to discharge the victim as soon as possible." June 4th, CS sends Gupta a purported surveillance photograph of the victim as proof that he is being monitored. CS says that the victim would be killed as soon as an advance payment of $25,000 was paid. June 5th, Gupta sends this photo and a screenshot of CS's messages to CC1. Gupta further noted that he would be speaking with those directing the murder. He asks CC1 to check with NY dealer if he can arrange the $25,000 there. June 6th, Gupta specifically instructs CS not to carry out the assassination during anticipated engagements between high-level government officials from the US and India later that month. He explains that there could be protests in the wake of the victim's death, which could lead to political things. Gupta also asks CC to put him directly in touch with his New York associates, who would receive the advance and carry out the murder. Gupta sends screenshots to CC1 of his messages with CS discussing the advance payment and introducing UC. CC1 replies, "Okay, Bhaiji." June 7th, Gupta messages CC1 that his associate did not have the funds available in New York to make the advance payment and asked that CC1 check with his contact. June 9th, CC1 messages Gupta that the payment will be made today positively and says, "Let's get it done by this weekend," referring to the murder of the victim. June 11th, CC1 receives additional purported surveillance photographs of the victim from Gupta. CC1 tells Gupta, "It looks promising, but we have today only. If it doesn't happen today, it will be done after 24th. Meanwhile, a high-profile visit by the Indian Prime Minister to Washington, D.C. was scheduled from June 21st to 23rd, 2023. June 12th. In a call with CS, Gupta states that there was a big target in Canada. June 14th, Gupta messages CS that we will be needing one good team in Canada also. June 18th, masked gunmen murder Hardeep Singh Nijjar, an associate of the victim and fellow Khalistani separatist. CC1 sends Gupta a video clip showing Nijjar's bloody body slumped in his vehicle. Gupta forwards Nijjar's video to both CS and UC. June 19th. Gupta speaks to CS. We didn't give to UC this job, so some other guy did this job in Canada. Gupta tells CS to expedite the murder, regardless of the Indian Prime Minister's trip to US. June 20th. Gupta calls CS. By June 29th, we have to finish our jobs. That is, the victim, and after that, free in Canada. June 22nd. CC1 messages Gupta that the victim is not at home. Gupta immediately attempts to call UC. This is part of the pattern of increased urgency shown by Gupta and CC1 after the Nijjar murder. June 26th. CC1. The coming 24 hours will be crucial. Gupta directs UC to keep eyes on the victim's house, his office and the cafe he used to visit. June 29th. Gupta messages UC that we have the intel that the victim has arrived back to his home. Gupta instructs the UC to carry out the murder. June 30th. Gupta travels from India to the Czech Republic for reasons that's still unclear. Upon his arrival, Gupta is arrested by the Czech Republic law enforcement authorities. For the first time, on November 30th, Ministry of External Affairs reacted to the US indictment, acknowledging the seriousness of the charges on Gurpatwant Singh Pannun's murder plot. The Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson Arindam Bagchi said that India takes such inputs seriously since it impinges on its own security interests as well.
As regards the case against an individual that has been filed in a US court, allegedly linking him to an Indian official, this is a matter of concern. We have said, and let me reiterate, that this is also contrary to government policy. The nexus between organized crime, trafficking, gun running, and extremists at an international level is a serious issue for law enforcement agencies and organizations to consider, and it is precisely for that reason that a high-level inquiry committee has been constituted, and we will obviously be guided by its results.
After India announced a probe into allegations by the US that an Indian official was involved in a foiled plot to kill a Khalistani terrorist on American soil, Secretary of State Antony Blinken welcomed the move, calling it good and appropriate.